Hello there, and welcome to the Almost Homestead. Today, I want to talk to you about something really different, something that I didn't know about until really recently, but that maybe you're experiencing and don't know why it's happening. And that's called visual snow syndrome. Visual snow syndrome is an issue that is really not very well known. And by not very well known, I mean I had to ask 3 doctors to find out what was going on, and none of them knew. And eventually I was sent to a neuro-ophthalmologist who did diagnose it, actually. And the reason for that is it affects your sight, but it's not an issue with your eye, it's an issue with your brain. For most people, what it is like is seeing the world through snow. For me, it's a little different. For some people, it's really like snow, like it's white and everything. For me, it's clear, and it doesn't really affect what I see so much as the texture. For you, if you're normal, when you look at the world, it stays still, unless it truly is moving. But stationary objects don't move in your sight. But for me, it's always like I'm looking at the world through static on an old TV screen. That's the texture of the world around me. And for me, I thought that was normal. Like, I thought everybody's eyes worked like that. And I'm not sure who first showed me that that wasn't normal. I think at one point I remember looking at a rug and maybe making a comment about how it looked like it was moving, and people looking at me like, no, that doesn't happen to me. But it took me a really long time to actually do anything about the fact that this weird thing was going on. And then, like I said, when I did start asking, the first eye doctor was like, no, that is not normal. No idea what it is. So then I was sent to a different doctor, not for that, but for glaucoma testing. Both of my parents have glaucoma. Well, my mom has, my dad had. So that doctor also didn't know what was going on. But something else was going on with my eyes. They found a spot on the back. They thought it was a freckle. Apparently you can have freckles on your eye. Of course, I would have a freckle there. But he wasn't positive that it was a freckle, so he sent me to a specialist. And while I was seeing the specialist about the freckle, which, by the way, 2 visits later was just a freckle, I have to go back every year for a while to have it checked, plus the glaucoma testing and all the good stuff. But while I was there, I asked him about it, and he was fascinated. And so he sent me to the neuro-ophthalmologist. And as soon as I walked in the office and told him what was going on, the neuro-ophthalmologist was like, visual snow syndrome. So what is it? It is basically like ADHD of the visual cortex. The part of your brain that processes visual information is overactive. So when you are looking at something, it processes the information that is there and some extra. So how has it affected my life? I always just thought I was clumsy. I tripped and fell. I sucked at sports. But as I got older, I learned that I sucked selectively at sports. If you asked me to catch a ball or hit a ball, no hope at all. But if you asked me to throw a ball, or even to throw a ball at a stationary target, oh yeah, no problem. Absolutely excellent aim at stationary objects. So you know, and we didn't really think much of that either. Like, I like to read. I was in band. No one was shocked that I did not have deep coordination. But it affected, it affects anything I do where I have to see something and repeat something. So if I am going to draw something, I can draw it better from a picture than from real life. It's complicated to explain why, but just trust me, it's easier. If I'm going to try and learn a dance or learn a yoga move, I struggle. I've noticed that if I watch a video, I'm probably not going to get a lot out of it. But if I see some pictures of the progress of the move or whatever, and I have a verbal explanation, I'm pretty much good. But the biggest impact for me in my life is I've always really wanted to learn sign language. I've tried really hard. I have taken 3 classes at the Indiana School for the Deaf. I still suck. I have no skills. And I always was really down about that, and I didn't really understand, like, other, like, verbal languages I'm okay at. I'm not a natural language learner. It takes a lot of work, but when I put in the work, I get it. Sign language? No, not at all. And so now I know why that sucks. And because I know that, I'm able to ask for some accommodations in my life that are making it a little easier. One thing I noticed, and I don't know if it's like a clinically significant disorder, but my ears do something similar, where in addition to the sounds happening, there's like a pulsating sound that is worse when I'm anxious. It's more pulsatey. I don't know the word, the adjective to describe it. But now I don't really talk on the phone much. I ask to Zoom, or I ask for an in-person. Even though I like staying in my house, so usually I ask for Zoom. But an agency I was working with to help get my business launched, I had set up a meeting with them face to face. They asked if they could do it by phone. I suggested a time and asked for Zoom. They contacted me, well, they never contacted me. I contacted them about 10 minutes before the time of the meeting, and I was like, hey, need the Zoom link. And she was like, can we just do by phone? No, we can't. So I just said, if all you can do today is, by phone, let's just reschedule. And she said if that was my preference, then blah, 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 blah. I didn't really explain why, because no is a complete answer. I don't owe anyone an explanation. Will I give her one later? Maybe, I don't know. However, I have an in-person meeting next week, which will be much better because she was going to be on the phone while she was driving. So road noise, plus probably on the speakerphone, so other weird background noise, and then trying to make out what she was saying. No. And as far as my eyes, I'm not really trying to like learn dance moves, so that's not really an issue. And the only sport that I do love tennis. I know I suck at it. I played it in junior and senior year, and I was the worst player on the team both years. I'm okay with that. I'm just playing for fun. And I'm really good at basketball, but the things that I'm good at are aiming at a stationary target and blocking people much bigger than me so that they can't shoot a basket. Because what I make up in height, I let out in aggressiveness. Oops. So, But what's interesting is I asked for an accommodation in a sign language class. And I've never would have had the courage to ask for something like that. But the person teaching the class is deaf blind, which means in addition to not being able to hear, she has issues with her eyes. And that's a whole like spectrum of like, anyway, it's beside the point. So she has to have accommodations for her eye issues. And I thought, you know what? She's offering these classes. I bet if anybody would be able to make an accommodation for me and my weird eyes, it would be her. And what's really crazy about that is, in addition to being like, absolutely, I can accommodate that, because I said, you know, I may need to have you repeat something. I may need you to do it slower because I can't see it, blah, blah. Like it's not that I can't see it. It's that it takes longer to process because there's the extra weird movie things. But in addition to saying she could accommodate it, she was like, oh my God, I have that too. I never knew what that was. I never knew why that happened. So I am super freaking excited about this sign language class that'll be coming up. I'm gonna do it later in the summer after I get through the initial launch of my business. And I'm excited that by asking my question, I helped someone else to understand what their body was doing. So now they can ask for the accommodations that they need, and they can give an explanation for why. Because when you ask for explanations and you don't have a word for what's going on, you don't know what's happening. You just know, I can't copy what you're doing. Can you repeat it? People just they treat you bad. They treat you like you're stupid. They treat you like you're a waste of their time. But when you say, I have this syndrome, this is what my brain's doing, this is what is happening when I'm trying to see you and I'm trying to copy you, then people treat you differently. They treat you with a lot more respect, but you're also more successful, I think, at getting the help you need. So anyway, I said all that to say, if you're having the same symptoms, this is what's going on. If you want to know more, I think Lonnie, the lady that does the sign language classes, would probably do a live with me if I asked her. I think that, and then you could hear her experience as well. If you are interested in that, put a comment in the box below so that I can talk to her about it. But yeah, that's the weird thing going on with my eyes. So if you're trying to teach me to do something and I have to look at you for it, know it's going to take me some extra tries, and that I may end up swearing more than the average person, not only because I swear more than the average person already, but because I've got this thing going on. I have so many questions about that vehicle that just passed by me. Anyway, that is totally beside the point. I hope this was interesting and gave you some input that might be good. I guess I should add that I think that this, as they study this more, they're gonna find that it's connected to neurodiversity, ADHD, maybe autism, just because, you know, we already know that with autism can come some sensory sensitivities and sensory processing differences. I still do not understand what's happening. It's like this little go-karty thing is just racing around the blocks. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna go now. See you all later. Eat something wild. And while I was seeing the specialist, it processes